Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the greatest investment fails by the top 4 investors of all time, from smallest to largest. Let's go. Coming in at number 4, we have Bill Ackman, CEO and founder of Pershing Square's Capital Management. His story is quite the mess up. Ackman bought 27 million shares of Valeant Pharmaceuticals, a Montreal-based pharma company. He purchased part of the company for about $180 a share around March of 2015, then sold a couple years later around January of 2017. During that time, the stock traded at $11 per share. That would make this investment a staggering 93.9% loss. Absolutely catastrophic loss. His reason for selling the stock? The investment required a disproportionately large amount of time and resources. If we take his average buy price of 27 million and multiply that by 180, the average investment is probably at 4.8 billion what it cost. Now, his average sell price was 27 million shares multiplied by $11 equals a little under 300 million. For a huge loss of $4.5 billion. Now, if you adjust that total for inflation in today's dollars, the magnitude of that loss increases to $5.8 billion. Absolutely ridiculous amount of money lost. Now, coming in at number 3, we have John, aka Jack Bogle. Some of you might know him as the guy who invented the index fund. John was CEO of a merged company called the Wellington Fund. The company had assets under management worth $2 billion at its peak. The company's assets collapsed to a low of $480 million in 1974. The share price went from a high of $50 to a low of a measly $4.25, an astonishing 91.5% loss in share price. Now, it's not as high as Bill's was, but you need to take into consideration that this was back in 1974. Adjusted for inflation, that $1.5 billion loss was more like a whopping $9 billion in today's dollars. The Wellington board of directors were not happy with John. The board gave John the boot and fired him from the fund. Here are some of the words Bogle had to say about the entire incident, and I quote, "It was the most heartbreaking moment, actually, until then, the only heartbreaking moment of my entire career." After John was fired, he went on to run this bad boy right here, the first and largest index fund in the world, the Vanguard Group, which has over $5 trillion in assets. Not a bad recovery, if you ask me. Up next, we have the one and only Vice President of Berkshire Hathaway, Charlie Munger, who is a 98-year-old fountain of wisdom. Seriously, if you guys want to learn some stuff, check out his videos and learn from this guy. Charlie never had a big monetary loss. No, he had a massive multi-billion-dollar opportunity loss. Luckily, there is a video where he quickly explains the situation. Take a look at this.
When I was somewhat younger, I was offered 300 shares of Belridge Oil. An idiot could have told me there was no possibility of losing money and a large possibility of making money. I bought it. The guy called me back 3 days later and offered me 1,500 more shares. But this time I had to sell something to buy the damn Belridge Oil. That mistake, if you traced it through, has cost me $200 million.
Charlie says an idiot could have told you there was no possible way of losing money. Reason is, during that time, the American energy crisis started in 1973. So having an oil company being sold to you at that cheap was like someone throwing money at you and you refusing to take it. So let's calculate how much it cost Charlie to date. If you would have bought the full 1,800 shares offered to him at $115 per share, it would have cost him about $207,000 in 1977. 2 years after, Belridge was brought out in a massive bidding war in which Shell won. Each share would be worth a whopping $3,665. That's an incredible 31 bagger in less than 2 years' time. his investment would have gone from $207,000 to a whopping $6.6 million. Originally, back in 1978, Charlie used almost all of the Bellridge profit to purchase his stake in Berkshire. By late 1979, the stock price was about $270. He would have been able to purchase about 24,433 Class A shares. Today, Class A share stocks is a massive $465,520. Multiply that by 24,433 shares would give you an opportunity loss of $11.3 billion. This figure will keep increasing as Berkshire grows. This has been his most detrimental opportunity cost to date. Finally, we have the one and only Warren Buffett, president and CEO of the monstrous Berkshire Hathaway. This guy is so badass in the investment field, his nickname is the Oracle of Omaha. Buffett bought Dexter Shoe Company back in 1993 with 25,221 Class A shares. The announcement that Buffett bought Dexter Shoe Company made headlines on October 1st, 1993. During that time, Class A shares were trading at roughly $16,675 per share. That means the deal cost Berkshire at the time about $420 million. In the shoe business, being the lowest cost producer is everything, which Dexter clearly was not. It just simply could not compete with the cheap Chinese labor that came around in the mid-90s. The cost of the mistake, as of today, has lost Berkshire stakeholders a massive $11.6 billion. And this figure will only keep increasing as Berkshire grows, just in a similar circumstance as Charlie Munger's huge mistake. So there you have it, folks, the top 4 investors and their massive mistakes. If you have stuck around this long, please smash the like button and consider subscribing for more educational investment videos.